You know what? You know when we're going? When you hear this.
I know.
The number one live show in the world, West Coast Pop Log Podcast. Coming to you from Pig Studios in Compton, California. Featuring radio personality Super Steve Flores. Comedian extraordinaire, that dude Johnny C. And Mr. I'll Do Anything for a Buck, Mario 81. So throw your dubs in the air and let's get ready to pop log!
Happy 420. Happy 420. I hope you're all high watching the show today. Woo! I know Mario's baked out of his head. That's why we're a couple minutes late. But
It's not.
I
a
was
holiday.
ready.
yeah, you were ready.
I was ready.
It's not a holiday, so you know.
It's not a holiday?
No, people do take it like
It's not a holiday.
I know some homie of mine that would like take the day off, set up everything at his pad, like call people. Hey, you have that bong that I let you borrow? Yeah, I need it today.
Dude,
I need it.
When I used to work at the weed shop, some of these chicks would it was like a combination of Halloween and Christmas because they would dress up in costume and then come and give each other like really nice gifts. And it's like, this is not a holiday. Like, what are you guys fucking doing?
And if it is, where's my gift?
Yeah, how come I don't have a gift?
Why don't I have a gift if it's such a fucking holiday?
It's just...
And speaking of Halloween, we have a fucking very
that is
special guest.
That is a great segue.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty awesome. We have my boy Leo D'Antoni. Just a little quick background. He worked at K-Rock, and that's where we met, and we've had a friendship ever since over, I would say, 18, 20 years. Great guy. Really quick, he worked at K-Rock. He's a scientist. He actually put fly wings on a bee? Or how was it, Leo?
Wait, what the fuck?
Oh, there's
Wait, okay, let's go. Here we go.
Hold on, there's some freaking science going on.
Leo.
And by the way, I want to know the conversation. Like, the fly came in, or a bee came in, like, hey, doc, I ain't got no fucking wings. What you got? Like, hey, I got these fucking fly wings here. Hold up. I'll get you right now. So,
hey
Leo,
guys, nice to be here, man.
welcome to the West Coast Pop Lock Podcast.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you. It's an honor.
And he's also from the Boo Crew.
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very awesome. You guys talk about horror movies. You guys do, all that kind of genre of a podcast. And like I've known Leo. We had lunch not too long ago. I was like, hey man, would you grace us and be on our podcast and let's talk a little bit of horror. Let's talk a little bit of science. Whatever, man. He's here today. So thank you, Leo.
What'd you guys have for lunch, by the way?
We had the Bad Boys. It's called the Bad Boy Sandwich from... What was it called?
It's Mario's Italian Deli in Glendale.
Hell yeah.
It's called the Bad Boy, bro. And it's a bad boy.
Yeah.
It's a
Damn,
bad
Steve, you
boy.
traveled for that,
Out to the
for that
valley?
sandwich.
Well, it's my homie, dude, and I hadn't seen Leo in such a long time, and since I left K-Rock, so it was like, hey, let's get together, man, and let's chill. And we went down to what was that place called, Leo? Where you remember right there that
the Wisconsin Gardens.
Yeah, I went to Wisconsin Gardens and had a very nice little lunch and conversation and stuff like that. And that's where I got
Did you guys
to.
kiss?
We could have. We should have.
Not on the first date.
We should have.
Leo sounds like a real gentleman, by the way.
That's what I mean, because that was like an awesome date. You know what I mean?
By the way, you're Steve's already the whore in this fucking relationship.
Yeah, of course.
Just
that was already.
ground and pound.
But so what was it, Leo? Was it a bee, wings on a fly? How did it work out? Because I always twist it up. I mean, I exaggerate.
This is how funny the story is. The story goes back so many years when I was still taking classes. And that was like a genetic engineering class, right? And it's like you substitute the genetics of a fly so that, you can pretty much put on whatever kind of wings and, eye color, body style. I mean, whatever you want, it's kind of like a lesson in genetics,
Sure.
And it's kind of funny how that story just evolved over the years. And Steve's like, hey, he put bat wings on a frog, And
Hell yeah!
next thing you know, I got strangers coming up to me and it's like, hey, man, I heard you put bat wings on a frog. Did he fly? I'm like, shit.
Hey, I'm a storyteller, bro.
I heard you put man legs on a chicken is what I heard that Steve told me.
I'm sorry, I was fucking fixing an audio and I missed that whole thing. So wait, who got what on what now? Shit!
Nah, he was just a... Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Apparently, there was some double audio issues. So thank you, Angel, for listening
Thanks,
in
Angel.
the West Coast Pop
Thank you,
Lock
man.
universe out there listening in on a Tuesday. Every Tuesday. Make sure you like, subscribe, and get all your notifications from all your social medias.
So you switch no wings is what is
No,
what
he
you're
did.
telling.
You switch swings, right?
It's like a game of telephone, man. It's like every time you tell the story, it changes. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're way past that. I mean, the stuff that I've done in science, we're way past that. I've done way more crazier advanced things.
So is this like fucking with like CRISPR and stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
now I'm doing CRISPR. Well, yeah, I was recently, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude, that
What
shit.
the hell's CRISPR?
Oh, I would let Leo tell you really what it. But here's what it is from my perspective. Some shit you're gonna be able to do whatever you want to. Like it is gonna
What?
be. We are unlocking genes to where if you want to be 8 feet tall, let's fucking do it. If you want to have a red eye and a gray eye, fucking let's do it. Leo, please tell them what CRISPR is, please.
Well, recently, I think last year actually, the Nobel Prize for CRISPR was awarded, which is kind of one of those unusual things because people win the Nobel Prize later in life, right? Like 90 years after they discovered something. But the two scientists that discovered the CRISPR mechanism won the Nobel Prize last year, so it's a very, very big deal because just
They know.
9 years
Yeah.
later, we're now using it in science and medicine. So what it is to gene edit, right? But we can edit one base letter before. Like you would kind of roll the dice and try to get that one change, but you'd have to edit maybe 5 or 10 at a time, and maybe you got it, maybe not, and you kind of don't know if you inserted another mutation or not. So what it is, if you think of it like this, let's say you have a disease, right? And you know where the gene is, that disease, and you want to basically correct that one mutation. Has 1 point mutation, you want to correct one letter, you want to change the A to a T, for example. We talk about DNA letters. CRISPR allows you to do that. CRISPR can allow you to go right into the chromosome, right into the cell, right into the nucleus, and change that one letter, and that's it.
Wait, are we talking about like software?
You're
We're
talking
talking
about
about an evil warlord?
we are software. We're talking about
Who the fuck is CRISPR?
We're
And
talking
I don't
about-
want them next to me right
That's
now.
you,
It's
bro.
an- it's
You're
a-
CRISPR.
Wait, I'm CRISPR?
crispy as hell
CRISPR
right now.
Shit.
We're talking about like being able to
Yeah.
alter your genes, like change you at a molecular level, like in real
Yes.
time, like right now. Like so
Yeah.
it's like Huntington's disease and shit like that, right? That you'd be able to
Yeah.
like turn off so these people wouldn't
Yeah.
have to have these horrible diseases. Like yeah. Dude, genetic mutation, like being able to just turn off and on genes as we please. This shit and like for them to get the Nobel Prize already, but like basically on spec. Like not even what it's done, but what we know this is going to do. We're gonna give you the Nobel Prize right now because this shit is
Yeah.
gonna be bonkers.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
So
some gnarly shit.
so the thing about this is that it's very promising. Like it actually works.
Yeah.
I've done it myself, and there's other labs that can edit using CRISPR, like changing 6 mutations at one time, or 60 actually. They've done like hundreds of them at one time. I'm only doing 1 at a time or 2 at a time. Now the thing is that there's a lot we still don't know about the DNA because there's this thing in DNA called junk DNA, and we don't know what happens downstream. So let's say we edit the letter
Sure.
here. What happened downstream? Did anything else happen? Any other event? Because you got to remember that cancer has also started the same way. So because we fixed something somewhere, we're hoping that nothing else was messed with.
Right.
So not until a lot of research is done till we figure out that, hey, it's only doing one thing. Otherwise, you're fixing the problem and creating cancer, possibly.
Great. Now you're creating super cancers with
Oh,
crispy.
it's-
crispy super cancer. What
It's
the
gonna
fuck,
be,
man?
Like, it's shit's gonna get wild.
Hell yeah, bro.
And there's gonna be 10-foot tall dudes walking around pretty soon, man.
I don't know if
Get-
I'm more impressed that Leo is explaining it or that Johnny knows this much about CRISPR.
know, right?
Like, I'm sort of like,
Bro,
what the fuck
you
is
know what?
going
I am
on?
not surprised that you guys know about this, anybody, because it's creeping its way into science fiction. Hopefully into some good movies soon, but it's in the news.
Right, it is
know?
like this is not. I don't feel like I know a secret. Like CRISPR's like a fucking. The guy won the Nobel Prize. Like this is not some little thing. This is like a big deal, man.
Damn, it's
gonna be awesome.
That's dope. That's dope. And then, fuck, bro. CRISPR, you got me twisted, man.
Yeah, I mean, genetic altering, like,
Yeah.
being able to like designer babies, like being able to before your baby is born, being able to pick its hair color, its eye color, how tall it's gonna be, what diseases it can have, like all of that shit will be like on a menu when you're fucking when you have a
crazy
baby.
The crazy thing about that is like I mean, even though we probably can mess with that here, we usually don't. And I'm talking about the U.S.
Right.
Now, in like China, for example,
They're doing crazy shit.
anything goes. And you know, I think last year or 2 years ago, the two Crispr twins were born. So they basically inserted the mutations for HIV, I think, in one of the two girls. So one of the girls, supposedly, will be immune to HIV for all her life.
It's so crazy.
But you know, the downside is she can possibly die from the flu, influenza, or sickle cell anemia.
Perfect.
Damn.
So that's how nature will get you. You know, just because you think you've prevented one thing, you fucked with something else, and now you're screwed a different way. You know?
Right, it's bringing in the cats to get the rats, you know, and then
exactly.
Yeah.
And you still want to bring extra crispy fucking cancer to the fucking world, bro. What the fuck?
You got the Crispy Sisters already. What the hell,
Dude,
bro?
I don't want cancer, and I don't want that motherfucker extra crispy anyway.
Yeah.
No good can come from that shit.
Only thing I like extra crispy is my chicken sandwich, bro.
That's crazy that it makes sense that they would do experiments on twins too, so that you would like only do stuff to one, so you could track it. Like that is those fucking scientists, man. They think of this shit,
China,
dude.
bro.
You know what I mean?
Wait,
Yeah.
Leo, are you experimenting on fucking twins too?
No.
Oh, okay.
We can get
No,
you
we,
some.
you know, we have so many laws here that you can't really mess around with too many things here in this country. You know.
I mean, I'll get
In
you
fact,
some
you know,
twins. If you
people
need some
freak out.
twins, I'll
People
get
freak
you
out
some.
embryos. You know.
And this is in China, you said?
It was in China. These two babies were born. Yeah.
well,
Well,
like
you know,
Yao
we
Ming-
are the #1 live podcast in
the
China
world.
as
Yeah,
well.
in China, yeah.
So
for
they're
sure. In the
listening to
world, the
this
whole
right here.
world. Like Yao Ming is a
crispy.
product. He's a product
crispy.
of, but like openly a product of China. Like they got the tallest woman in China and the tallest dude in China, and we're like, all right, you guys fuck, and you're gonna have a super baby, and we're gonna fucking put him in the NBA, and that's exactly what happened. Like they did that
And he
shit,
didn't last a long
no
time either. He
problem.
was getting hurt a lot, you know?
Well, yeah, people aren't meant to be that big.
No, that's what I'm
tall.
saying.
Like, your
Yeah. So
feet,
like you
your-
said, like it's that whole effect,
yeah.
you know, like you're the biggest, but yeah, your knees suck.
Now we got to fix your feet somehow. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with purebreds, right? All the purebred
Right.
dogs, they all have fucking. They're supposed to be all mutts in the world, but purebreds are all.
Well, because the
fucked
inbred
up.
dogs. That's why they inbred them to
Well,
like
we
have
made-
stuff.
we made them. We made dogs. You know?
Well, they all started from coyotes.
Like we'll be able to do shit like that, like how they did with
Yeah,
dogs.
but you
immediately.
got fucking Leo's grandpa over here fucking with dogs, and look what happened with dogs. What do you think Leo's gonna fucking do with his fucking extra crispy fucking cancer?
He's gonna put wings on you, bro. What the fuck are you talking
He's gonna
about?
fucking extra crispy fly wings on me.
They have fucking little fucking bat wings on your back, bro.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Hey,
shout
guys,
out to KC8711 out there on Twitch. I probably mispronounced all of that, but #1 podcast in the world. That's
right.
what's up. He can't wait to go down this rabbit hole, and he said butterfly effect. Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fucking.
It
Well,
is, dude.
Is it considered a butterfly effect versus?
when one small thing changes
Yeah.
the rest of the
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I forget that movie. Okay.
That was a good. The only good thing from that movie is Ashton Kutcher walks into the dorm room. At one point, he goes, "It smells like patchouli and ass in here." And I've said that in every bad-smelling room I've walked in since I heard that. Like, yo, it smells like patchouli and ass in here. What's going on? So,
You guys have heard of the simulation theory, right?
absolutely,
That we're
we
living
are
simulation.
in a simulation 100%.
You know what? I
Right.
just
So
heard that
I'm-
from Johnny.
I
by the
have
way.
like 50 things I could throw at you that tell you that we're not. Reasons
Really?
why.
Oh, I would love to hear them.
And I'll tell you that's a whole other day story.
Oh,
but
God
one
damn
of them I want to tell you about is the butterfly effect.
Okay, let's hear.
If the butterfly effect is happening, which it is, right? A butterfly flaps its wings somewhere in Hawaii and changes, the weather pattern of the pollen and changes, causes a tornado and, hurricanes and all that, There's so many dynamic changes. There's so much chaos in that's one of the reasons why you can't simulate that. Like
Sure.
the powers that a computer could not handle the power, processing power to recreate that.
Not yet.
Not ever. I mean, because that's just one thing.
Not ever.
That's just one
Ever.
thing.
What, 1,000 years in the future from now?
That's just one thing.
Well, I'm saying, okay, but 1,000 years from now, you don't think they would have the processing power to be able to do that? I mean, because we're on the timeline of only right now. The simulation theory is on the timeline of fucking forever.
Right.
So we could be in the year 4,500. And they
Hey,
finally
Leo, hit him with
figured out-
another one. Hit him with another one. We got time. Hit him with one more.
I
Shit.
love this shit. This is like, it makes me so. Either way, it's
You hit him with
awesome,
an
you know
uppercut,
what I
hit him with the
mean?
right hook, Leo. Bring it. Come on. Shit. We ain't done here.
Yeah, so that's just one of the reasons. But hey, guys, let's talk about horror.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to know. Let's start with Mario. You know, what do you remember about horror? What was the earliest horror movie you watched or remember?
My dad was big into horror. Fuck, all the Friday the 13th, all the 80s slashers.
Yeah.
Those scared the bejesus out of me. I think he fucking wrecked me, and I need to go to therapy now. Everything scares the bejesus out of me after my last accident, too. So I'm all fucked up. But I used to always remember the big monsters coming out, someone getting fucking killed, yelling. But it was all those 80 thrashers when I was like young.
Hell yeah.
Super old. I mean, yeah.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
All them shit.
Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare on
Street.
Elm Street.
So when you were young, were those like scary to you, or are they like fun?
In the beginning, they were scary. As time went on, they became more like, all right, like that shit's not fucking bad. But as a kid growing up, like 3-4 years old, my dad's supposed to be watching me. He's letting me fucking stay up with him late watching fucking wrestling and fucking horror films. So by the time my mom gets home, I'm still up quivering behind the fucking sofa, worried about the goddamn dude who's gonna come in here and slash me up.
Yeah,
so.
Freddy Krueger's gonna drop an elbow on you.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
Shit.
But
Johnny C, man, how about you?
So what did I scare you with, Katie? That's my sister. My first memory of any horror movie is, I don't know if it's the first Friday the 13th or the second one, where he pops up out of the water and grabs the kid in the rowboat when they're out in the middle of the lake. It's like a dream. It's not even real, but it's just like a dream sequence that happens. And I remember that scared me so bad. That was like, fuck. And when it started getting funny, my favorite character from any scary movie ever is Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, where he he's the best character ever, doing cartwheels and shit, fucking taking out Freddy Krueger. He gets up out of the wheelchair and he can fucking do gymnastics now. Oh, it's the fucking best. So that's when like it started getting funny, like where it started being fun. But I like scary movies, but I like it when it's never gonna be my suggestion. But I'm down if somebody else suggests.
And it better be at noon. You know what I mean? At noon on a Sunday.
Super Steve, how about you, man?
For me, it started off with Freddy Krueger, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street. Just sleeping, falling asleep, because that's a fear. Like, oh, I have to go to sleep now, and this motherfucker's gonna get me. Fuck you. And then when it got funny was. I can't remember which one it was, but when one of the people in there that was trying not to fall asleep had a heroin addiction, and remember all her heroin
that was the best.
The mouths open. Oh, dude, that was like gross, yet like funny, yet like, and then he comes out with like needles in his hands as opposed to and just fucks her up. That was like. That's when I was like, okay, this shit's stupid, but I still couldn't fall asleep for a while. How about for you, Leo? Where did you get the itch, and what put you in this path? Because you guys have a really great show, a really great podcast. It's just exploding, dude. Wow. And you guys have had so many people on there. It's amazing. Like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I remember watching her all the time. Huge fan of hers.
Leo, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
So what is it for you? What's your favorite shit? Let's hit it. Now that we hit you with all our basic bullshit.
We're like basic.
No, for me, it started, when I was really young. It was my dad showing me the Godzilla movies. The original 1954 movie, by directed by Ishihiro Honda. And it was like, as a kid, it's a little scary, but then you watch that movie today and like, man, that's a terrible suit. The effects are silly. But what they did back then, was something very special, because as a kid, it made me love the monsters, so I never was truly scared of them. Like vampires, werewolves, none of that stuff scared me ever, And then the cool thing is, my parents let me watch, Macabre Theater, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah.
So it was like, Sunday afternoons, and the movies were B horror movies, they were silly, and some were funny, but just, they were supposed to be scary, but they were never scary,
There's
so it's kind of like the gateway,
One of my favorites was the Laurel and Hardy versus when they fought like the Dracula and Frankenstein. They fought monsters. I don't remember who. Yeah. But it was like a comedy horror movie. And the comedy part was legitimately funny, and the scary parts were like scary for the 30s, you know, for whenever this was made. They weren't trying to make it haha. Like the scary parts, they were trying to fucking scare you. So it's like you see like them trying to be funny, and then like a monster comes.
Is that how Hanna-Barbera got all those fucking wacky like stories? Is that from that shit? Fucking Lauren Hardy fighting fucking monsters?
Yeah,
I never seen that, and I love Lauren Hardy. I'm gonna go look that shit up.
There's like a lot of Abbott and Costello also. Abbott and Costello.
Maybe that's what I was talking about. Yeah. I think that's what I meant.
Those are great. Those are classics, man. But you know what? This actually evolved over the years because I met my friends while working at K-Rock. You know, I know Super Steve there for a long time. At the same time, I met my friends Lauren and Trevor, and we all became good friends because we all had a passion for horror movies. So we started watching horror movies, and we'd go like at, you know, the midnight showing at the ArcLight, you know, to go see the newest whatever was coming up, The Ring or whatever, you know, and we'd have a good time, you know. And then like we start talking about the movies and like, hey, you know, what you think about that, man? That was scary, that was cool, you know. And eventually our group just grew, right? Because it's like we had friends of friends of friends joining us, right? So all of a sudden we're now a crew, right? There's like 10 of us, there's like 15 of us all going to the ArcLight. Like we're buying a whole row at the ArcLight, you know. And we're all going to go see, you know, The Conjuring together, or, you know, whatever it is. And that's, you know, that became, after the movie, became a conversation outside the theater. So movie would end and we would still be there till 2:30 in the morning talking about the movie. And the idea came up, hey, why don't we do a podcast and talk about movies, right?
Hell yeah.
And that's where the idea came from. It's like, well, you know, we came up with the name, the Boo Crew, you know, and
Nice.
we started right off the bat. We're like, we're going to talk about movies, and right off the bat, we're going to have guests. So we booked Scout Taylor Compton for our very first guest. You'll know her from the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And she made a bunch of other horror movies, and she's still acting. She's still doing a lot of stuff. And ever since then, you know, it's like, who else can we talk to? You know, it's like, oh, you know what? Let's talk to, you know, the girl next door from Playboy, Bridget Marquardt. She goes ghost hunting. We talked to her. And that girl is like an encyclopedia when it comes to like ghost hunting. She knows everything like the back of her hand, man. Yeah. And, you know, from then on, it's like, hey, how about this guy in this? We got John Five, who's, you know, now Rob Zombie's guitarist. He used to be with Marilyn Manson, you know?
Yeah.
So we talked to him, and next thing you know, it's like writers, directors, actors, you know, just back to back to back. And now we're up to 222 guests, you know?
Hell yeah.
So
who's been one of your favorite guests of out of those 222?
Dude, that's like, you know,
I mean,
that's like asking you to pick your favorite baby,
you know?
or kid or something.
Ones that you would like to go back and redo and maybe talk to more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, we've had a lot of all the horror. You know, we've had all the horror royalty names on there. You know, like the big names you would know. Like we had we had Robert Englund, right, who plays Freddy Krueger. You know, we had Bill Moseley, who plays Otis from the Rob Zombie movies. You know, like we have some great. We had Danny Trejo. We had him on, and so it's like we had some great names, right? But believe it or not, the names that stand out to me are the filmmakers, the ones with the Cinderella stories. Like they just told me, I had an idea and I made the movie, and now they're like one of the big, you know, one of the big names, you know. And I'm gonna focus on Mike Flanagan. Now you'll know him because he directed Dr. Sleep, Oculus, Hush, and he's currently working on like, you know, he did Haunting of Bly Manor, The Haunting of Hill House for Netflix. So if you watch those, there's a very solid ghost-centric stories on Netflix. You know, he knows how to tell a story. He knows how to, you know, mix in the romance and the scares. Like he knows how to blend it all perfectly. So having that guy on was like a primer, you know, like for any one of my friends who wants to become a filmmaker or has an idea to make a movie, I always tell them, hey, listen to his episode.
I'm for sure
because
listen to that one.
You know, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I like nerding out like that.
He was actually like, he was filming like, you know, the Brand Boulevard of cars in Glendale, like those car commercials.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of work he was taking on, like to learn how to edit and stuff, you know? So he went from that to making his first feature length with Oculus. And you know who he had as an actor in that movie was Karen Gillan, who's Nebula in the Avengers. You know, that's her first big movie, you know? So it's like he launched some careers here and there. And he also brought back some people, like, for example, Henry Thomas, who we haven't seen him, you know, since he was a boy in E.T.
Yeah.
And, you know, now he's like one of his inner circle actors that he uses over and over in almost everything he does, you know. So he's built these relationships, but it was just really cool to hear his story, where it's like, here's a guy who just had an idea and a passion and just did it.
And what do you think it is about horror movies, or that, not necessarily just horror, but horror, suspense, thriller, like that kind of genre, where it is the guys with the singular vision that are willing to make the movies themselves? Like, so many times it is a horror movie where they've come out of nowhere, you know, a guy who nobody knows that's come up with this fucking incredible script and this incredible idea. And it is those types of movies a lot, you know, enough that I notice.
Yeah, it's I mean, for a number of reasons. For one, they have a passion for the genre, like you know, for example, I do, like, you know, we talk about Freddy Krueger, like, so exciting, right? That's number one. But number two, it's like when it's do it yourself and you have a passion for it, nobody's gonna say no. There's no suits. There's nobody saying, hey, I'm gonna give you $1 million, but you can't do this. You can't show this. You can't cut the, you know. So they have to do what they want, right? Then they shop the film, and somebody, you know, if it's done right, somebody's going to pick it up for distribution and put it out there.
Sure.
You know? But also they have a story to tell. This is the most important, you know, lesson of horror movies that people don't realize, is that you can tell an effective story. You can showcase a theme, something that's relatable to history that we've been through, and you could expose that for a little bit. So, for example, I'm going to highlight George Romero, Night of the Living Dead, 1968. One of the, you know, probably the first zombie movie, right? In fact, they weren't even called zombies in the movie. They called them ghouls. Now, George Romero did something crazy. Remember, the year is 1968, okay? Think about what's going on today in the streets, okay? Think about the civil rights movement. 1968, civil rights movement. What does he do? He casted Dwayne Jones, a black man, as the lead actor, okay? This is the time where the movie studios would have told him, nope, you can't do that. Like, what are you thinking?
Fuck,
you know?
no.
So he you know, he did that, and it was, you know, he also casted Judith O'Dea as the female, you know, white woman, you know, leading in that role. And there's also a controversial scene where she goes hysterical and he hits her, like, close fist, and knocks her out, you know? So it's like, here you have a black man hitting a white woman,
He knocks the
you know,
shit out of her.
in 1968, okay? Think about that, okay?
Hell yeah.
So he wasn't, like, doing it on purpose, right? His whole thing was like, look, Dwayne Jones was actually the best actor for that role, and that's why he casted him, you know? But the movie was very much you know, it was very much commentary on the American life of the 1960s,
Right.
you know? And then you could think back to, for example, Dracula, right? I mean, Dracula, you know, really, if you think about it, is a story of illegal immigration and xenophobia.
Yeah.
So
It's a
you know,
fun
it's about the fear of somebody from a different country that you don't know, and you know, so it's like, you know, that's coming up in our, you know, in our daily news stories again today, right? And over and over, it's like, and that's a story that's what, 200 years old, you know, whatever, 300 years old, you know, it's like. So, you know, there's these themes, right? That it's like, if you want to explore something and you want to teach someone, and you want to, like, you know, get it out there. You know, for example, The Invisible Man. Did you guys see that last year's movie, 2 years ago? The one that came out, Universal Pictures, The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
So that one, made by Leone, who created the Saw franchise with James Wan and all that. Now, it's a modern day version of The Invisible Man, because that story is a couple hundred years old, okay? But what did he do? He told a story of a guy who was abusing his girlfriend.
Totally.
Okay, like, she was going through abuse, verbal, physical, like, you know, stalking, all that, right? And you think about it today, and I look around, and I actually know women that are still in those toxic relationships, you know. So here's a guy who's showing you another theme, another more commentary, you know. And this one's in your face. This one's like, hey, this girl's being stalked by her ex-boyfriend who is invisible, but, you know, but he made a great horror movie out of it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's also because is it easier to make a horror movie, Leo, than all the other movies? You know what I'm saying? Because there's been a lot of, and not only that, but there's been a lot of, like, the ones like Toxic Avenger, those type of movies. So I think people might even see it as something that's more attainable to do, as opposed to a bigger type of film. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah, I mean, there is that possibility, right? But here's the thing about horror. It's all about timing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's very much like comedy. Like if your comedy is, if I'm not laughing every 7 minutes, like screw your movie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what, you're saving it for one big sexual, funny act, at the end. It's like, what's the point? I was bored the rest of the time,
Yeah.
And it's the same with horror. It's all about timing. And we're actually going through a horror renaissance right now. Like if this was the 1950s, 60s, like, we're seeing so much good stuff coming out right now. Like I'm watching 3 to 4 horror movies a week that are about to come out over the next few months or maybe even year that are amazing. And they're made by first-time directors, people you've never heard of.
All right, give me one. What should I be looking out for?
Look, I'm gonna mention this movie because this came out last year in the middle of the pandemic. There's a movie called Host. Have you guys seen that?
Nope.
No.
Man,
I've seen it
this is one of the best stories ever. Think about that. This is March, April last year during the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is shut down. We're talking like worldwide, right? Like England shut down, and U.S. shut down. Anyways, in England, in London, a group of friends got together because they used to get together over Zoom and have like game night, or they would drink, whatever. And they're all out of work because Hollywood's shut down, right? No movies are being made. And at that time, I think it was Guillermo del Toro who sent the tweet and says, these times really suck right now. Like there's just, all this, uncertainty and everything. And I can't wait to see what comes out of this a year or two from now. What brilliant ideas and horror come out of this, right?
Yeah.
These guys in London said, hold my Corona, because we're going to make a movie right now. And they did. Nice. So they got the 5 girls, and they got one of their guy friends, and they filmed the whole movie over Zoom. Okay, so everybody's socially distanced, living in their own place. Everybody had to do their own stunts. Everybody had to do their own blood or makeup effects. Okay,
That's
the whole
awesome.
movie takes place on the computer screen over Zoom. Okay, so. And I mean, it's pretty brilliant how they filmed it. I mean, they were taping cell phones to the back of their laptops to record the footage. Each one had to do their own special effects, and they even posted how they did special effects. And dude, I was really impressed because it looked so good.
Yeah,
These are all practical. These are all like being pulled out of a chair. But the whole premise about this movie is very simple. A group of friends get together on Zoom and they host a seance. So the seance goes bad and it affects every one of them separately,
Which
so
is
one
so
by one, you see them get hurt, or dead or something,
And it's like that. A group of people get together and do a seance. Like that's a story that's been told 1 million times.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is take it and put it on the internet, and now it's a completely different fucking thing. Now it's a 100% completely different story. Like that is.
But here's the thing though. It was filmed during a pandemic. Okay.
Yeah.
The pandemic is part of the story. Okay?
Oh no shit! So it's a 2020 movie. That's cool.
Oh, it's a 2020 movie. Yeah, it came out last summer, and it's a feature length movie that it's not an internet movie. It was filmed with the premise of Zoom, but actually, if we had theaters open, it would go in theaters.
Sure. No, I meant a 2020 movie like it takes place in 2020. Like during the pandemic.
I mean, it's in real time. You can watch them, and you can see that holy shit, like we're going through the same thing. So it's so clever because that's never been done before.
Yeah.
And the movie clocks in at like 55 minutes. It's not even an hour, the movie. It's so well paced. So shout out to Jed Shepard and Gemma Hurley and Rob Savage who made this movie. Basically, they wrote it. They got 5 of their girlfriends and 1 guy friend. And dude, there's even a scene in this movie where one of the characters gets set on fire. Okay, think about that.
To do that yourself at home practically is wild. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to make a practical effect with your
real
laptop.
fire. Real fire. It's not even special effects. It's practical. And it's fucking nuts. I'm like, I can't believe you guys did that.
Guys, this is a one-take shot, okay?
Yeah.
No, this is a one
We
go.
got
Crispy. I'm gonna get crispy.
Extra
do
crispy.
this.
And that's
So
crazy.
yeah, that's one of those movies where it's like, if you want to see something that's to blow your mind because of how it was made, where it was made for nothing. And that is the most talked about movie in ages. and one of the most successful movies of last year, and we're still talking about it.
Super cool.
And that's crazy because it goes back to the theme of, and not that we do it on purpose, guys, but like shooting your shot. We've always talked about it every week.
Yeah.
And we come on here and we give each other that motivation for the following week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is just another example of someone just taking a risk, just doing it, just going out there and doing what you have to do and putting it out there, man. And look what happened. Success. You did it with friends. You did it. I'm sure those guys did it for free. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, man. Just taking your shot, doing your thing, dude. Don't be afraid. I mean, these guys did it in a pandemic. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I got to check that out for sure. Leo, one of my favorite movies, let me know if you've seen it, is Zombievers. Have you seen that?
Dude, that is one of the greatest movies I've seen in
Hilarious.
years.
Yeah.
Zombievers.
Zombievers.
I'm stupid Zombievers.
I couldn't stop laughing.
It was funny for sure.
Dude, I mean, just the fact that they have beaver jokes in there is just, but yeah, that's one of the movies I couldn't stop laughing because it kind of parallels like the whole Piranha and Piranha 3,
Sure.
Double D and all that, But yeah, once again, somebody has a crazy idea, right? And says, yeah, these fucking zombies, beavers that, and, they come back and they just eat people and shit and, blood everywhere and missing limbs and all that shit. And it's like, dude, that's awesome.
It
it's
just
like,
didn't have enough boobs.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It had like one set.
One of my favorite movies from that kind of genre was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like that, like
oh,
I remember that title.
like that.
I
Like
didn't watch it.
what a fun movie, and the same thing where it's like this horror comedy that's actually funny and actually fucking horrible
At the same time.
like
Isn't it
there's
like
no
Shaun of the
horror.
Dead? Is that pretty on that
Well,
level?
I mean, it's a movie where half the people are in a comedy and the other half are in a horror movie. Like these people are getting killed, but like these dudes are killing them, but they're not trying to kill them. But these kids keep seeing their friends being murdered and are freaking out. But these dudes are trying to fix the situation. It's have to watch it. It's the outside of horror, the genre is called It Gets Worse. Like that's the whole movie. Like it just gets worse. Like over and over through happenstance, like their situation just gets worse.
Someone talked about The Unholy that just came out. Have you checked that one out, Leo?
Yeah. In fact, we had the filmmakers for that movie, and one of the lead actors in that movie is the guy who plays Negan from The Walking Dead.
Sure.
Oh shit.
Dean.
That's the artist.
Dean.
On
What's
the
his
chat.
name? Henry Dean Morgan. Is that his name? Harry.
Yeah.
Dean Morgan. Harry Dean Morgan.
Richard Dean Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard. I knew it was three names. But it ended in Morgan. That dude's badass.
Now you guys.
It's an interesting take because it's like there's been so many religious movies, right? Some of them are exorcism. Some of them are evil spirits, ghosts, and all that. This one is very specifically to the Virgin Mary.
Guadalupe.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
I've never seen anything like this. Okay.
Is it like Mexican? Like Mexicans are people
it's
that I know
Mexican,
that
yeah.
really care about Guadalupe. You know what I
No.
mean? Like,
There was no Mexicans being filmed on set with this. No way.
Yeah.
But you got to remember that when she appeared in different parts of the world, she had a different name, right?
Yeah.
She was the Lady of Fatima, right? Or in some countries the Blessed Mother, or Ave Maria, or Lady of Guadalupe, so different people, recognize her by different name. But yeah, it's an interesting concept because I've never seen anything like that, and it does something cool with it. And yeah, if you're intrigued by it, definitely check it out.
Hey, check that out for sure.
Now, one of our friends did a little short film, and you had posted on there that there was some evil black energy where he had filmed it. What was that location, Leo?
Oh, okay. So he filmed a short right below the Arroyo Seco, or right by the Arroyo Seco, which is below Suicide Bridge in Pasadena. And that area right there, I don't know, have you guys ever heard of the Portal to Hell?
No.
What?
Okay. There's a spot down there. I'm not even joking. You can look this up because there's actually really cool pictures online. It's called the Portal to Hell, and it's down there. And it's like these the flood channel ends at these gates that are locked or closed, and it goes into like this tunneled area where it goes deep into the hillside, rocky hillside, and all that. Anyways, going back to the 1930s or 40s, maybe is it? 3 people got together there to perform occult sexual magic rituals.
Hell yeah.
That would be the founder of JPL, Jack Parsons, the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and one of the biggest names in the satanic world, Aleister Crowley.
Woo! That's like an all-star game.
Yeah,
right
that's like a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, dude, the three of them were into that, into like conjuring, demons, and then looking into opening different dimensions, all that stuff. In fact, that's how Jack Parsons died. He blew himself up. He wanted to open a hole to, I don't know, the 10th dimension or something, and he just blew himself up and killed himself. But right there, that's where they were launching rockets in that area, because that's what we know today as JPL.
JPL, man, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
But yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, those three got together and were doing some dark ritualistic stuff. And you can see symbols in that area. You can see symbols on trees. In fact, you can see swings, like what kids would sit on, like those kind of swings, on trees. But the swings are really, really high. Like you can't even get to them.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
And there's weird like symbols, and people theorize what it means. And there's weird like etchings and markings. Like there's definitely dark energy down there. Like some bad stuff was done. And then of course, if you look at the news around that time, there were some kids that went missing, and really close to the area, and people were wondering if they were sacrificed.
Oh man.
Hopefully.
Shit.
You say
And
hopefully?
there's like a wild like side story to this that I believe it was Jack Parsons who bet L. Ron Hubbard and said, "I bet you can't start a religion."
Yeah.
And supposedly that's how he started Scientology.
It's crazy because I've been watching the documentary on Scientology for the last couple of days on Netflix, where they're trying to like expose it. And
Right,
stuff.
right.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah, you mean a guy who was the most prolific fiction writer in the history of the world wrote another fiction book and sold it to people? Fucking surprised, you know what I mean?
But just the things that they're talking about that happen in there, and how they, dude, it's just crazy. People getting beat and just put in like what they call the hole. And
Look
you
at
just,
all cults. Anytime there's a cult, it's eventually going to end up being you're getting beaten or your wife's getting fucked. Like that. Like that. That's how all cults end up. Like that's the only that they're only like either a beating cult or a sex cult, and sometimes
Wait,
a beating and sex cult.
Where's the Kool-Aid in all this shit, though?
Yeah,
Isn't there
there's a
fucking
Kool-Aid
Kool-Aid
cult.
in one of these?
I mean, eventually that's the end.
Oh, okay.
That would be what was that? The
Jamestown Massacre.
Jim,
They drink. It wasn't even
Jim
cool.
Jones, was it?
it was jungle juice, bro.
Yeah, Jim Jones out there fucking making it happen.
Yeah.
But so when will the Scientology one end, and how will it end?
I mean, come on. It'll end.
They have
with,
a lot of-
it'll end with Scientology being accepted as like a regular religion. And in 50 years or 100 years, we'll be like, what is everybody talking about? It's a cult. The same way that the Church of Latter-day Saints did. In the 60s, this was like, everybody knows this is a cult, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, what are you talking about? The Mormons are a completely legitimate religion. And it'll
Yeah,
same
I got
thing.
my magic underwear.
And the same thing will happen with Scientology. And that's, come on.
So
It's
what
all
else, Leo?
horror
Is there any other like crazy areas like that, Leo, that we can go and scavenger and hang out at?
Why do you want to send people to the fucking bad juju place, Steve? What the
Someone
fuck?
has to go to tell
So
stories.
I just passed. I'd never seen it before. I just passed Houdini's mansion for the first time, and like I've never driven. So
I totally been there.
there has to be something cool about that, right? I see you nodding. There has to be something awesome, right? No.
I've been there. It was late 90s, and there was a band, two bands actually. One of them called Sugar Ray, the other one called Smash Mouth.
Hell yeah, that's like an early 2000s
We did,
fucking
yeah.
all-star team right there.
Yeah. We did an event there. Actually, they performed at that house.
Hell yeah.
And I'll tell you, that house had some creepy vibes.
You guys
back
brought
then.
you guys brought the evil spirits with fucking Sugar Ray and Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
They're like,
one
this
of the-
place
one
has
of the
never
most,
been the same.
Nope.
Yeah, right. One of the most talked about places that keeps coming up, even with quite a few of our guests here in LA, and that's the Cecil Hotel.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys been there? Or
I just did stand up. I saw it because I did stand up right by there, and I was like, oh shit, that's the fucking The Netflix hotel. But I know I'm from LA, so I know that I've heard the stories and I know about the lady drinking the dead girl water and all the rest of that shit. But
that's gross.
That lady drank and took a shower in dead girl water. Like a dead girl disintegrated in that water, and then she drank it and cleansed herself with it. Like, that's a horror movie right there. The movie should be that girl possesses that lady now after she drank her.
Oh, dude, that would be crazy. Everyone in there turns into like some zombie possessed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the foulest thing I've ever heard.
What's worse?
If that movie didn't have a sad ending to it, like I'm sure somebody would have, thought of that. I'm sure. But people don't want to quite touch that yet, it's too fresh.
They don't want to touch it like they don't want to touch dead girl water.
No. What's worse though, TJ water or dead girl water?
Dude, I'll take a TJ water.
But if you could take TJ water, then dead girl water should be no problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you can drink either one, you're good.
You're built for it.
No corona for you.
My stomach.
Shout out to Liz Vampire Mermaid out there on YouTube, checking us out right now, live every Tuesday night, the West Coast Pop Lock Podcast. She says Heritage Farm. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Do you know what that is, Leo?
It rings a bell. I just don't know where it's at. Maybe she can chime in and mention. Type in where it's at. I'm curious.
Yeah, Liz, if you want, you can call in at 909-475-7449. Call in and let us know what Heritage Farm is about.
Oh,
one of the other besides the Lissa Lamb missing and the girl in the water, the water tank case. One of the other crazy stories is the fact that Richard Ramirez was killing people here in LA, covered in blood. He was coming back to the Cecil Hotel covered in blood. He would strip naked, throw his bloody clothes in the dumpster outside, walk through the lobby in his underwear and bloody shoes and all that, right to his room, and not one person would question him.
They're like, "Oh, good to see you again, Mr. Ramirez.
Yeah.
Please, you go right up to your room.
Fresh towels?
Just another Tuesday. This guy's good."
And that's crazy because the lady they're interviewing that was the manager, dude, she's wacko, bro.
Yeah.
She's crazy. You can just see it in her eyes and the way she's like, well, no, nothing ever happened.
She had crazy eyes for sure.
Yeah, she had mad crazy eyes.
You can't be the manager at that hotel. What do you think? Regular people are going to apply for that job? Get out of here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Richard Ramirez is walking through there so you have to only imagine what else was walking through there. If Richard Ramirez naked
didn't raise an eyebrow. No, did not raise an eyebrow. Him cruising. No. So what the fuck else was going on there?
Yeah.
Fuck. Didn't they even say like the top stories of it, the top stories of that hotel? Like they wouldn't even go up there. Because people were getting killed, people were getting doing drugs, doing crazy shit up there.
Like,
we wouldn't go up there. Like, you know how most people don't go on, there's no 13th floor, but they won't even go to the top. Like,
they're like, above 5, we don't go up there.
By the way, the interesting fucking pen pal group that must be going around those people like, hey, there's a spot, they don't question, you're good, just come here.
Come on
no,
down,
don't
man.
worry. No, you're good. No, I walked in all bloody. No, you're fucking good. Like, no, you got this.
Yeah.
I murdered 3 people last week, and they didn't even know I brought an arm back. I brought an arm back with me, waved to the person at the front desk with the arm I cut off, and they were just like, yeah, that's cool, man. We'll fucking, rent's due Saturday.
Come down for the continental breakfast.
You know what's crazy is on our podcast, we had a guest. Her name is Rachel Stavis. This is one of our earlier guests. We had her on because there was an article on her on CNN and also Cosmo magazine. She's a female exorcist. Okay.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Yeah. And when I read the articles, we got to get her, and we finally got her on the show, and we sat down with her for like 2 hours, and she told us how she does what she does. Okay, using very different modern techniques, but it's nothing that violates the Catholic, rite, or what they do in Judaism or in Buddhism. So she will call upon the saints or Jesus or Buddha or Allah, for help, in exorcising these spirits, So a lot of this was very interesting. And then the conversation got really, really creepy because she started talking about the Cecil Hotel and how she attempted to go there. So this is a woman who's not afraid, by the way. Like, she's told some crazy stories.
Yeah, she's not afraid of nothing. Yeah, she
Like
got her
I wouldn't last 10 minutes, anywhere she goes,
Oh hell yeah.
But she went to the Cecil, and she said that place is another portal to hell. She says that, and it's tied into the fact that it's also Skid Row,
Absolutely.
So-
It's a dark place down there.
It's dark place, and she says that she comes in incognito, and yet you have these people coming out of the shadows, okay? These homeless people who are not right in their mind, right? They recognize her. You know what I'm saying? They recognize her. They told her to fuck off, go away. You will never help her. You're not wanted here. And she was
vessels.
Oh shit! So they know her by name.
They know her as being an exorcist, and she said there's a lot of possessed people down there.
Fuck.
So we need her to cure homelessness out there. Just start.
So they're not schizo, they're possessed.
Yeah.
By crispy fucking shit going on. What the fuck, bro? Dude, that's insane. Especially for someone who doesn't get scared that something will actually fucking frighten you.
Can we look at this right here on the chats?
Somebody
phone's not
by
working.
AC said they had a question for
What's
me.
the matter with the
If you want to
fucking-
type it in the chat, I'm
Yeah,
curious
you
what the
can
question
do that.
is.
What's the matter with the phone number?
I don't
man?
know.
What are you
Hold
doing?
on. The number, once again, is 909-475-7449. Johnny, call us. Let's see if that fucking works.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What's the number?
909-475-7449.
What's your favorite exorcism movie, Leo?
I'm always going to go back to the original 1973 The Exorcist.
Nope.
Oh, nice. No, he said no about the phone.
Oh, yeah, no,
working.
I'll tell him. Yeah.
No, it's curious. I'm like, is it people say no, like they won't watch it.
You know what? I can't watch it.
Which one is that? What was
The
what-
OG
Yes,
one.
why can't you watch it?
Dude,
It's just because you know what? Because, like, you see Nightmare on Elm Street, right? It's fake. Now this shit's supposed to be real.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility. Like I don't know because I've never dealt with that, and the closest I've ever come to like even thinking of ghosts or anything is like, what are they called when you feel something that's pressuring you when you're sleeping? It's called the
Like the sleep paralysis.
Yeah, the closest I've ever found. But dude, when I will tell you this, I was laying in my bed and I was falling asleep, and I felt like if someone straddled me from behind, and I felt the steps come into on the bed, like one and then the other. You know what I'm saying? And it fucking was crazy. So for me, like the exorcism is like, it could be real. This shit's like too close to be real. So I don't even want to think about it, have that shit in my head. That's why.
I saw it pretty recently, The Exorcist, and not too long, and it's still so fucking scary, man. Like,
Yes,
it is
yes.
still no
But I think it's
fucking
because
joke.
of the fact that this could be real shit.
And to me, it's like because it's
surrealistic.
Because this is a little girl too. This is
Yeah.
a young woman up here doing gnarly shit. You know, like it is fucking bad ass.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, this is one of the horror movies that I should not have seen when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, you should have seen that at 19.
It scared me, and it still scares me. Like if it's on, I always turn around. I'm like, okay, I'm alone. And I see some shadows. I'm like, shit. But the cool thing about that movie is if you watch it with fresh eyes, it's a really interesting story. It's a story about the priest.
Sure.
It's not the young girl. It's about the priest losing his faith. And why he's losing his faith and why he carries that guilt. That he couldn't help his mom or be there for his mom when she was sick all those years. And, he was a boxer, he became a priest, that kind of stuff. There's a great story there.
He's sad too because his mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah. See, then you have that, right? You have that, right? Which is 1973. You have that dialogue, right? And then you also have the masturbation scene with the crucifix. Okay, think about that. That has not been done again, since 1973, because that's still controversial.
That's just 50 years ago, and we've made movies like all the Saw movies and Hostel and all that crazy shit, and there's nobody banging themselves with the crucifix.
Because it's something you don't touch it. You don't mess with that. But yeah, that still holds up. Unfortunately, I think it's being remade. Like I've heard some talk that
Jesus Christ,
and it should not be remade. Like that's a movie. I always tell people, hey, when I mention that movie, they say, oh, the split pea soup head turning around. I'm like, no. Watch it with like careful eyes because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, people think of like, oh yeah, she throws up and this, like, no, forget about that part. Like, look at the makeup job. You know,
Sure.
Look at the makeup job on the old priest, because that dude as an actor was actually the same age or younger than the younger priest.
Yeah.
And he made him look like he was 80 years old.
And it all holds, all of it, across the board.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Because you're too scared to even notice the details. We're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, you closing your eyes half the time, turning away. I mean, like I said, to me, it's just one of those things, like anything of that nature. Even like, Leo, you got me into listening to Coast to Coast. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And whenever they had any of the horror, like any of the Exorcist guys on there, I would never listen to that shit. I wouldn't listen to those episodes, bro. Because to me, it was like, it's too fucking real, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that movie is actually based on a true story. It happened in 1949, you know. And we actually talked to the guy who wrote a book, and I read the book, you know, over one night. The boy's name was Roland Doe. It happened in St. Louis. It's a really interesting story because there was a lot of cover up, you know. Like the Catholic Church recognized what was going on, and they were like, we can't let the world know, you know, that this is going on. So they kind of covered up the whole story. But that was, and it's documented in a 26-page diary, and that diary made its way to a Georgetown priest who heard about it, and William Peter Blatty was a student there. You know, he was a journalism student there. He heard about it, got a hold of the diary, wrote the book, The Exorcist, and then made the movie the following year. You know, so, but it's not a 12-year-old girl. Obviously, it was like a 13-year-old boy. But a lot of the crazy things, you know, you saw in the movie, like, did happen in real life, but it happened between like January and like April. So it was a good 4 months of some crazy shit going on in the house.
Yeah, hell, yeah. Well, you know what? I just thought of a movie, and this is not a good movie, but I liked it way more than I thought I would when I saw it. Jeepers Creepers. Let's talk about Jeepers Creepers. And the reason why I like Jeepers Creepers is because the bad guy won. And won with, like, there was no question that he won. At the end, he was like, yeah, I won. I'm going to be back again fucking next time. Don't you worry about it. So I really enjoy horror movies where they're up against this supposedly unbeatable thing. And then that unbeatable thing is unbeatable. Like, sorry, you don't get to win. I've been doing this for 1,000 years, and I'm gonna keep doing it tomorrow. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And you kids are gonna beat me? No.
Yeah, that's what. So that's I like that movie because I enjoyed seeing the bad guy win and like dominate.
And that's the thing about horror is that horror is a genre where you can break those rules and the bad guy can win.
Yes.
And most of the time when he does, like, it depends, you know, what movie if you're watching an Elm Street movie, you're kind of rooting for Freddy Krueger sometimes, you know, but if you're watching a different type of movie, it kind of leaves you with an uneasy feeling. Like you walk home and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I just watched, but I don't feel good, you know? Now, I'll give you a perfect example.
Uneasy is the best way to
people
describe
ask me, like,
it.
what scares you, right? And I told you, monsters don't scare me, creatures don't scare me, jump scares don't scare me. Like, a movie like The Strangers scares me. Have you guys seen The Strangers?
Yeah.
Like that movie with
scary
Liv
as fuck.
Tyler.
Yeah.
You know, now, you know, that's a home invasion movie.
Yeah.
And that's something that happens all the time. But the ending of that movie, if you think about it, think about what you see. You see her and Scott Speedman tied to a chair, right?
Uh-huh.
And the three strangers are standing there talking to them. And that famous line where she's like, why are you doing this to us? And you know, he says, because you were home.
Yeah.
That came from the Charles Manson murders.
Yeah.
That came from one of the trials. That's a real line. And right after that, they get slaughtered. They get fucking knifed up. Now, remember, they went through a night of hell. You're seeing the sunrise. So, you know, I was thinking, it's sunrise. I feel safe now.
Right.
They're going to be let go. They're going to be saved. This is the end. Fuck no, they get killed. You know?
And they save it until the sun comes up. You know, they save it until normally when in other movies everybody's safe. When everybody gets light, it's like, all right, now's when everybody dies. So get ready.
Damn, yeah, that's crazy. I do enjoy the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, it just even Freddy Krueger when he lost, he didn't lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All those guys, like you're right, they don't lose. They just keep coming back.
But I like when they win.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of times at like the end of Friday the 13th, at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street, it looks like they lost, But then they come back and
Yeah.
like I like the ones that was like, no, it doesn't look like I lost. I
Like,
won.
yeah,
Like
I
I
beat
won.
you.
I dominated. Like there's fucking no problem. So talking about what scares people, I remember I read this a long time ago, and they're talking to Stephen King, like asking him, like, what scares you? Like of all this bullshit, like what scares you? And he said what the thing in his mind, what would scare him is like, you know, when you go into a room and it's dark and you reach for the light switch and you can't find it, and you like start, you walk into a dark room and you start looking faster and faster. And he was like, what if so? He was like, what scares me is someone putting their hand on my hand and putting it on the light switch. Like,
Damn. Yeah.
Damn.
I like how putting it on the light switch is like the scare. Not just the hand, but just putting it on.
Put it on the lights or turn it on. Turn on the light. I would love for you to turn on the light right now so I can fucking murder you.
I could kill you right now.
I want to apologize to everyone. It looks like we got the phones back up. So if you guys want to call in now, 909-475-7449. We did get a question. Johnny, can you read that? Because I can't fucking...
Ace wants to know, Leo, being that you're into all things horror, all the ladies must feel safe in your presence. Do your fans ever try to get in your pants or throw their panties at you when they run into you?
Ooh.
That's a funny question, man. But I will say this. The horror community, okay? Because, you know, Steve knows I worked in radio, worked in the entertainment business, right? There's some, you know, there's some big ass egos there, some crazy people, you know, people that rule the world, you know, you're not part of that clique, you know, all that stuff, right? In the horror community, okay, I'm, you know, exposed to these people who are listeners, right? Who are fans of our show, who we meet at conventions, or they just write us and say, hey, that was an amazing episode, you know, whatever, right? These are the nicest people I've ever dealt with in my life. I mean, and they're all different. They could be like, you know, doctors, lawyers. They could be a goth, you know, they could be into metal. They could be into punk rock, you know, whatever. All ages, older, you know, some young, you know, but they always chime in. They're always really cool people. And that's what I realized that some of the best experiences, interactions I've had with these people at conventions, at shows, at movies, at haunts, you know, and Not Scary Farm and Universal Horror Night, all that stuff. Some of the coolest people in the world. And I think it's because, you know, we're kind of all misfits, if you think about it, you know. We're all the misfits that don't fit in a sense. We're all different, right? And we all respect one another, you know. And not, you know, we're not gonna point fingers and be like, you suck because you think Freddy's cool and you know, Jason's better, and you know, it's like, no, you know, that's childish shit. You know, it's like,
didn't they fight in outer space already?
They did fight in outer space.
That was like fucking Jason X in space or some shit.
Hey Leo, any good movies of La Llorona?
There's
yes,
the one.
there's a couple. There's the big one that Warner Brothers did a couple years ago called the Curse of La Llorona. Now, people were you know, people quite didn't like it. You know, they were talking bad about it. You know, but here's the thing, that the movie's called The Curse of La Llorona. It's not La Llorona. Okay, it's The Curse of La Llorona. So I think people were hoping for an origin story that possibly took place in 1692 or whatever. You know, and that's a cool story because you could even tie that story into Hernan Cortez. You know, when he made his way over here as a conquistador, and he hooked up with La Malinche. You know, supposedly there's lore that La Malinche was La Llorona. You know, there's that story, and it doesn't have to be that story. It could just be the ranchero, you know, the wealthy ranchero and the poor, you know, peasant woman that he married, and you know, having the kids, and he was cheating on her, and she drowned the kids. You know, so either way, whichever story you want to believe is real or true, the story works. Now that movie was cool. It was based in 1970s L.A. I liked some elements of it. But there's also a second movie, and I believe it's on Netflix. It's just called La Llorona. And believe it or not, this movie is a Guatemalan movie, which I didn't even know that they made horror movies in Guatemala. Like that blew my mind.
I didn't know they made movies in Guatemala.
Yeah. I didn't know that Llorona traveled to fucking Guatemala, first of all. Like, what the fuck?
But yeah, check it out because they did something really interesting. They took like a story of a general from the Guatemalan army who was like ruling down there. Like they took his story and they wove it into like the Curse of La Llorona and all that. So they did something really interesting. So check out that one. So those are the two that I can think of. I'm still hoping for a more definitive La Llorona story, like one that actually takes place in 1682, whatever, because I think that's a fascinating story. And, I don't know if it's difficult because it's a period piece and sometimes people shy away from that. I don't know, but I would love to see that.
I want to see one with the Manic Hispanic song in it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, so when, I don't know if you might not. So when I was in Peru, I learned a lot about like jungle legends, like crazy shit that's supposedly out in the jungle and all these like crazy guys. And apparently there was a movie made about the trickster Chuyachaki is the dude. Do you know of a horror movie that has to do with this spirit Chuyachaki?
I don't.
Thank God, because I don't even want to know. But when I heard there was a movie, I was like, all right, good. Because someone was telling me about this scary dude, and I heard that there was a movie about him, but that whatever, it doesn't matter. Good. Good, I'm glad.
He's like, yeah.
Good.
I don't have to worry about him coming through.
Chuyachaki. So when you're doing, this is what I was told, Chuyachaki's a trickster. When you're doing something bad and you're fucking around and like something like, and you look and you think someone's watching you, that's Chuyachaki. He is watching.
That motherfucker is with me 24/7.
Yeah, when you're doing,
fuck you, Chuyachaki, motherfucker.
When you're doing bad stuff and you're doing bad stuff and you fucking get scared because you get caught, that's him, and he's a trickster. So I don't even want to get into it.
But what if I'm not doing anything bad?
Okay, but here's the thing: there's a lot that has to do with Chuyachaki, but. The worst thing is if he decides he doesn't like you, the only way to defeat him is you have to go into the jungle and follow a special diet, and you fight him in your dreams for 9 months. And
what
then,
is he, fucking Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, I'm telling you. And then at the end,
wow.
And then at the end, if you beat him, if you overcome Chuyachaki, he becomes your ally because he's the watcher of the jungle. Like he's fucking out there keeping the animals safe and stuff. So if you battle him and then you come out on top, now you got a partner out in the jungle. Now he's fucking like down for you. Right, but I told the dude when they were like, "Oh, if you talk about him, like you're gonna invoke him," and I was like, "I do not have time to come to the jungle and fight a dude for 9 months in my dreams. Like I have a job. Like I have a podcast to do.
Yeah.
I have other shit to do. I cannot be in the jungle
Right.
for 9 months fighting a jungle trickster. Like
I can't sleep for 9 months. You know what I'm saying?
Just out of curiosity, did you at least get the stats and at least figure out what the ratio was of people
wins?
of
Oh,
winning?
losses?
I don't know.
Is it like a
Yeah.
99% like he's gonna kick your ass, or like, hey, like fucking 50-50, like if you might can come up on top?
It's an excellent question. I was just more concerned with how do I make sure I don't have to fight him is what I was concerned about.
You needed the car fox for sure. Jungle fox.
Yeah. I'll go back down there and get some more details.
Hey, Leo, you recommended a movie, The Tigers Will Win. I think that's what it was.
Oh, yeah. So one of the guests we had on last year, right when the pandemic started, is a filmmaker. Her name is Isa Lopez. She made a movie called Tigers Are Not Afraid.
There you go.
And the movie is so fascinating because it takes place in like the slums of Mexico City, and it's about these kids who their school gets shot up by the cartels, and like the ones that survive are like on a mission just to survive. They just want to like escape, and escape the neighborhood. And one or two of them, they kind of want to get revenge on the cartels, So it's kind of like a revenge story. But at the same time, there's a fantasy element woven into the story because right when before the teacher died, she breaks a piece of the chalk and she gives it to a little girl. And, she tells her, a story of that she can do anything she wants, and she tells her a story about the tigers and how tigers are not afraid, so it sticks with her. And that's how she battles the cartels one by one, one person at a time. So when she gets when she's being chased and stuck in a corner, for example, and you're about to see her die, like she gets out of that situation, like, oh shit, like the fantasy element comes into play, So it's a horror adjacent movie. It's very, very dark, but man, I love that cast because, my experiences of visiting, Mexico when I was a kid, looking at these other kids, who were absolutely poor, like had nothing, like, some of them just live on the streets or begging, and it reminded me of that. So that's how good the acting, the casting is. Like those kids are amazing actors. But yeah, she's a Mexican filmmaker, Isa Lopez. Check out her movies. Guillermo del Toro called it one of the best movies he's ever seen, and I think she's signed up to do something big next. So she'll be a name you'll see in the next couple years for sure.
Yeah, man, shooting your shot. You know what I'm saying?
I think like that the term that you use, horror adjacent. I really think like that is more of a favorite genre of mine than straight horror movies. Like ones that's like, this isn't a horror movie, this is a psychological thriller or whatever like name that they want to throw on it, when in reality it's just horror adjacent. It may not be blood and guts or may not be jumps, so they don't want to call it horror. But God damn it, this is a horror movie.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those being made too, man. And they're great. They're great because they make you stop and think. Because like you said, you're waiting for something to pop up and scare you, but it's not about that. It's like something darker going on.
Even a show like Black Mirror. Like you can't tell me that wasn't basically a goddamn horror series. Like this is a nightmare series, So because there wasn't monsters or like people getting stabbed with a knife does not mean that this wasn't the horror of the human condition. Like this. These are horror episodes. So horror adjacent.
Liz Vampire Mermaid, she wrote Isla de las Muñecas. Have you guys heard of that place?
No.
I've been there. It's creepy.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It's you take this kind of boat, just a giant canoe. You got
the ferryman.
Yeah, you got someone actually with a fucking giant
Huck
stick.
Finn.
You rent the fucking boat out. You fucking get a whole day rate depending on how long you want, and he takes you cruising, and then there's this whole island of this dude like with nothing but fucking dolls, this fucking rancid looking things, and he tells you the whole fucking story. I don't fucking remember. I think it was half fucking baked and shit. But
where was this at?
In Mexico City, and fucking I can never pronounce that shit. That shit has an X in it. Yeah, whatever the fuck.
It has an X in it.
Yeah,
come on, man. You speak Spanish? Come on.
Nah, man. My brain don't work like that, man. It don't. I can't pronounce that shit. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Yep.
It shows you how Mexican I am.
And to answer Liz's question is, Mario's been there. I have not, but there's a girl that I follow on Instagram. Her name is, she goes by Amy's Crypt. She also has a YouTube channel, and she actually went there and she did a mini documentary, and she even tells you how much it costs, how to get that boat, what time to go, who to talk to. Like she broke it all down. She's an Australian girl who goes to all the spooky locations around the world. And she covered that one really well. So check out her YouTube channel or Instagram. She's got that one nailed.
What is her name again?
Amy's Crypt.
Amy's Crypt.
I recorded the whole story. I'll fucking upload it and send it to you. Like, there's the guy there.
Perfect.
Yeah, that gives the whole entire thing. He's the whole guy. Well, I guess.
There's a lot of shit I got to do in Mexico City, apparently. God damn.
It's cheap, man. Everything's fucking cheap, dude.
I thought I was only going to see wrestling, but apparently there's like a bunch of other shit.
You know what?
A bunch of good food, bunch of
I know that part. I mean,
that was the one thing I didn't do when I went out to Mexico City. I didn't check any of the lucha. I wasn't into lucha at that time, like how I am now, so I missed out.
To the stadium.
They have the world's biggest ice rink.
Well,
It's crazy. I mean, like, it's so huge, dude. It's like thousands of people on it, bro.
Really?
That's how big it is. It's fucking crazy big.
Mexico City?
Yeah, because I was there during Christmas a few years back. And I actually went for the Virgin Mary, quote-unquote's birthday, December 12th. And people pilgrimage there from around the world, bro.
I've been there, and I've never been there on an event like that, and it was fucking packed. So I can only imagine, hey, calling all...
Hey, bro, I because of my family, I grew up Catholic, and so that's part of like more cultural than anything.
Sure.
So I went to check it out, to experience it. Man, I'm gonna tell you something, dude. At midnight, when it hit midnight on her supposed birthday, the people started chanting, they started singing, dude. I felt this energy and this wave that just hit me, bro. I almost started crying, dude, because it was so much energy. The belief that those people have for her dude, it's insane. People are on their knees for miles.
We love you, Guadalupe.
Crazy, bro. Crazy, dude. It's just so as much as good energy exists, so does bad energy.
Sure.
Correct? Yeah. So there has to be the
portal of fucking hell and Whittier, apparently.
Yeah. Over here in fucking California, shit.
Just out of curiosity, since I'm totally getting the whole vibe of understanding where the concepts, the mindset, the plots, the story, and all that good stuff. Have you ever witnessed, been a part of any of the spooky, the natural, the shit you can't explain, the bumps in the night, not you wops, but the other kind of bumps that you just don't want to be in front of? Like, have you gone through anything spooky, supernatural, aliens, probing? Anything?
No, I try to avoid that. It's funny. We had Kesha on as a guest recently, and she asked me that question. She's like, "Do you? You know?" She's like, "Do you take part in this?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Look, I'm
What do you mean you don't do seances on the weekend? You're not 100, bro.
No, you know what? Rachel Stavis, who's the Exorcist I told you about, she invited me to something at her place. Small, it was like small number of people, and we honestly like kind of tell her that, look, this stuff is a little too real. You know, this is not something I'll walk up to that line when it comes to paranormal, demonology, occult, witchcraft, you know, but I don't cross that line.
Sure.
I walk up to it because I'm curious. I want to learn about it, you know, and I want to see, you know, what the story is, you know, what's it about, you know, what do you get out of it? What do you expect to see or do? And, you know, for some people it's fun, for others, you know, they're terrified, whatever, you know, but it's something I do not want to cross. And there's a famous book that I found really compelling. A book might have been written in the 80s, and it was written by Ed and Lorraine. The names ring a bell. Do you guys?
Sure, it's the Annabelle guys. Them,
yes,
right?
Conjuring, exactly. So the real life Ed and Lorraine wrote a book called The Demonologist. Okay, and it's really a love story book of how them two met and how they became. She always knew she was clairvoyant, but she kept it a secret, you know, and how he started consulting for the church, you know, as a demonologist expert. So the thing is, they're both Catholic, okay? And she's a practicing clairvoyant, which is kind of goes against the Catholic beliefs, you know? But yet the church had so much respect for them too because they were doing good, you know? Now, there's a great chapter in the book that basically it lists like 20 things, right? It says, don't play with Ouija boards. Don't conjure in the mirror. Don't ask for Bloody Mary. You know, like there's a whole list of things, right? And there's a lot of things I didn't know. Like there's things of just looking in the mirror, like just like manifestation type stuff, you know? And it's like, don't ask for it, don't will it, don't invite it in, you know? And I thought, well, that's just silly, right? It's not true, you know? Well, whether or not it's true, okay, I have not seen that kind of stuff, but I know enough that it has affected people and people have seen stuff and their lives have turned upside down. And it's like, I don't need that.
Sure, and truth is pretty subjective. You know what I mean? So in your personal life, like what you think you've brought in, like what, like that, what is true and what is untrue is very hard to convince somebody when it's their life. You know what I mean? Like, don't tell me I didn't conjure this shit up. I did, and now I gotta go to the jungle and fight this dude in my sleep for 9 months, like because you conjured him up. You know? Yeah. Okay, this is a super obvious question, and I can't believe we didn't get to it earlier. Best movie combination of your science and horror. Like what?
Oh damn.
The Fly. Come on.
The Fly is great.
The Fly is great. Both of them are good.
But Cronenberg's movie The Fly is one of the best body horror movies. That movie still grosses me out.
It's pretty gnarly.
Gina Davis gives birth to a cocoon.
You put fucking bat wings on a fly, bro. How the fuck you push you out? Shit.
With fucking Brundlefly, when he starts puking all over everything, that shit's gnarly, man.
Yeah, that's one of the best body horror movies you'll ever see. And that was what, 80s, right? Late 80s, the 87, 88, whatever it was. There's that. And did you guys ever see Event Horizon?
Sure.
That one's fucking creepy. I saw it in theaters because I thought it was a sci-fi movie. And then it gets to those parts where, you know, they're seeing all the video footage of hell and stuff.
Or it's not a sci-fi movie anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Eyes are being ripped out and the tongues and all that shit. And I'm like, what? And, you know, it's funny. We talked to the filmmaker a couple months ago, and there's this whole story on the internet. You could look it up of how he filmed more crazier, gorier, insane stuff that was cut from the movie that never made it. Damn. And it was literally cut, like it's not saved anymore. Like it literally went in the trash.
Like cut it and chucked it.
Like
it's gone.
Yeah, and there's only like a VHS copy of it, and like just a copy to preview, you know. And so they're saying that they're gonna restore that version and put it back in some kind of DVD package or something, you know. But yeah, that movie was crazy, man. So those two pretty much are science and horror. I mean, are the tops, I would say. But let me ask you guys this. What is the craziest horror movie you guys have seen?
Crazy how? Like not like crazy gory, like crazy, like because
crazy,
I remember
gory,
like one of the mainstream movie that bothered me the most when I saw it, like Hostel really bothered me. Like Hostel, and murder porn, like that's what's like, all right, this isn't really my jam, you know.
Yeah.
As much as that's scary, that's not the kind of fucking scare I'm looking for. You know, like I don't want to wonder what it really looks like to cut somebody open and torture them. You know, that's not
right.
You know, but. That was one of the last ones that I remember going to the movies and being bothered, and not just being bothered by the movies, like being bothered like, why the fuck would somebody want to make this? You know?
Oh yeah.
I think the last thing that I saw that was super gory was like Rambo 4 when they're blowing everyone's heads off.
That was pretty good though.
I mean people exploding into little pieces. Like I think that was pretty gory. But no, for me, I think I stopped really watching horror films. You know, I'm not very much of a movie goer.
So, Leo, I'll tell you what, do you remember when before The Ring came out, when they were doing those videotapes, where they were mailing them to people and putting them on people's cars and all that shit?
Yeah.
So we got one of those sent to the tattoo shop that I was working at the time. So we just get a tape in the mail and it's fucking nothing, and we don't have a VCR or anything at the shop, you know? So it's like, oh, take this tape home. And I go home and I put it in, and it does, you know, it shows the fucking Ring. And then at the end, I wish I could remember the name of the fucking website. There was a website at the end. And then you go to the website, like, and this giant thing, it says, in 7 days, you're going to die. And I don't know what the fuck this movie is, you know? And so I'm like, my friend Brittany Crump made me a toilet seat.
I've seen that.
This toilet seat. So she made me a toilet seat at the shop that said R.I.P. Johnny C. Because I was like, well, apparently in a week, like I'm gonna die. You know, like I saw this weird tape and I went to this website and now I'm gonna die. And so she made me a toilet seat, and you know, so months pass after that, and then I'm at the movies seeing some other movie, and the preview comes on, and I was like, what? I've seen this tape. Like I've seen this before. And then I was like,
following me.
And then I figured out that we were the part of a giant marketing ruse, you know. But like that tape tortured me.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something that scared me? That tape, seeing it out of context and not knowing what this was for, fucked with me for months. Even after I didn't die, after 7 days, I was still like, what the fuck?
Maybe they're just taking their time with me.
Maybe their days exist different in their dimension. Like it's a long, but I didn't understand what that tape was or any of it. And that fucked with me for a long time.
They sent those to us at K-Rock. Remember, Leo? We had those there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff got sent to us. Yeah, the tapes and all kinds of crazy stuff would always come to K-Rock from like horror movies and Saw and the masks and all that shit. You know, that was pretty, That's where the first time I saw that tape was at K-Rock. We put it in, but we already knew it was...
What it was, yeah.
Yeah, what it was.
Yeah.
But I can imagine getting it, you know, and just fucking like...
What's this?
Oh, shit. Why did I have to fucking turn it on?
Yeah.
And
how about you, Mario? Was there any movie that you thought was just insane, crazy, gore,
You know, everything frightens me in the fucking world. Liz Vampire Mermaid said out there, Silence of the Lambs. And I remember growing up, and once again, we go back to the storytelling. We go back to what is happening in between from A to B. What got you there? So even with Silence of the Lambs, like what this dude is doing, you know, yes, we know he's killing, you know, but fucking like on a different level, on a sick level, like he's on a sick one.
Because he's dancing too. That's why. He's not just killing people.
One of the
like
best fucking 80
dancing.
tracks, by the way. Fucking.
I seen him at the Mad Greek in Baker, bro. He was there.
Baker?
Yeah.
What was he doing? Killing people out there?
He
Jesus
was
Christ.
eating a fucking gyro or yard, however you say it, bro. I was sitting there
He's
having
checking
my
the
own.
temperature? He was
Dude,
like,
no,
look at that big
this,
thermometer.
a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter comes in, parks. Some lady gets out, walks in. I guess she's surveilling, like, hey, how many people are in there? Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then a little entourage comes out, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, this motherfucker, dude. And I'm looking at him, but I'm not going to go up there and bother him.
And they just
you know
play
what I mean?
Wild Horses, and they're like, play it. And he's like,
doing the tuck as you're walking.
He got his fucking gyro and fucking ate it. That was it. I left him alone. I was tempted to go say, oh, fuck, say something, but I was like,
hey, no one cares.
yeah.
Yeah, so like the bloody stuff doesn't affect me, but for sure, like alien movies really fucked with me. I'm like, oh, that's kind of plausible. We can't be the only things out here.
Sure.
We are somebody's fucking ant project on another planet that just went wild. So I don't know, anything with like aliens really fucking that used to get me really going as a fucking kid. So and that shit always stuck with me and like.
But I've never seen a crazy alien movie. You know what I mean? Like most of them are
Sure.
like, you know.
Well, for example,
Campy.
like a really good one was M. Night Shyamalan, Bing Bong.
Signs.
Yeah, dude, that one was like, oh fuck.
Signs.
Like you, the thing that with once again with storytelling is the emotion that you're supposed to get
Yeah.
from these things. I'm a really anxious fucking person. Like I don't like suspense, and that's what fucks with me. And obviously, that's the thing that anyone who likes horror
Sure.
films, that's what you like. That's the thing that I don't like. So even if it's not blood, guts, blah blah blah, it's just the intensity of the fucking story of what, like fucking. There was this one action movie that came out, something blonde, something. There's Russian spy shit, but it was an all 80s fucking track. Came out not so long ago. That whole entire movie, I'm like. Oh my god, like, and it wasn't even like it wasn't scary or anything, just the whole time I'm like,
Oh yeah. Was that Atomic Blonde?
Atomic Blonde, yes, that one. Amazing fucking soundtrack, all
Dude,
80s
Leo,
and shit.
what a grab from you, because this fool gave no information. This is like,
I don't know.
It was a movie,
Hey,
blonde,
he's supposed to
crazy.
know. That's his genre, man.
Look,
He's
You are an expert. You are an
Yeah.
expert. I can't believe that's like on Married with Children when Al Bundy was like
him.
him like that.
No, but I gotta tell you a funny story because Steve would know this person. Steve and I had a mutual friend. We're talking about horrible, crazy, gory movies. Melissa.
Hey,
Steve,
it's
a
crazy,
friend of ours.
Leo. I was thinking about her right now. I dated her for a while.
Oh,
Melissa
here we go.
Pizzamilio. And she would make, I remember her teaching me how to make guts.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. 'Cause she did that shit. She did
like special effects.
Yeah, special effects stuff,
Okay.
blood packets. Go ahead, Leo, man. It was crazy because I was thinking the same thing, man. Shout out
One
to
day
Melissa.
she tells me, she goes, "You got to see this movie, okay? It's called a Serbian film." And I'm like, "What? That's weird." She's like, "No, you just got to watch it." She's told me like straight face, right? Like nothing, right? So I watched this movie.
Serbian film, okay.
Dude, this movie is probably the most intense thing I've ever seen. Like, it crosses every line. Like, if you have a checkbox of things you should not do in a movie or show, it crossed all of them.
I'm just reading the blurb about it. Yeah, that's all the lines. You know? That's everything you're not supposed to do. Absolutely, Jesus Christ.
Dude,
Can
the
you
movie
name some, Johnny?
ended and two things happened. One, I was ready to go to confession to the church, and two, I was just waiting at the door for the FBI to show up to arrest me.
I mean, I'll read you a little blurb right here. An aging porn star agrees to participate in an art film in order to make a clean break from the business, only to discover that he's been drafted into making a pedophilia and necrophilia themed snuff movie.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
That sounds.
Dude, that movie.
I'm gonna rent that as soon as I get home.
The crazy thing is, I met another friend of mine, Vanessa. She's like, "Hey, you know what? Watch the making of, right?" And I'm like, "Why would I want to do that?" And once I watched the making of that movie, like my brain was like reset. I was like, "Okay, I'm good," because once you see that it's fake, once you see that it's a prosthetic doll or whatever, right?
Holy shit! What are they showing this goddamn movie?
Like, dude. I mean, like I said, it crosses all the lines, man.
I'm probably gonna jack off 3 or 4 times during this movie.
You're gonna get rid of all your energy, bro.
That's right. Not supposed to give away the energy.
Well, come on, I gotta get rid of that evil stuff when I watch that movie.
And I gotta tell you, what one other movie that just came out a couple years ago that's really, really good. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Art the Clown. The movie is called oh my god, what is it? Terrifier. Terrifier. This is a killer clown movie like you've never seen before.
Crazier than it.
Oh, dude, he makes it look like Mickey
Bozo.
Mouse.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it's he's not messing around. The director Damien Leone, we kind of share the same name. He was a special effects guy. He used to make blood and guts, for other people.
Uh-huh.
And this is his first movie. He makes his first movie with this clown, and I didn't know what to expect because it's like a more independent movie. It's low budget, right? But dude, the effects are some of the craziest things I've ever seen in a horror movie, because they're all practical.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie.
Like you see, like, you know, somebody getting sawed in half, but you know, it's like an actor wearing the prosthetics, you know, so they're really sawing through, you know, prosthetics, you know.
Dang.
It's crazy, dude. But yeah, I recommend it. Terrifier.
Terrifier.
Did you ever see that other killer clown with that Vulgar?
No.
Oh man, that's another movie that really fucked with me too. Like that is not it. Vulgar is what the movie's called, and it is exactly that. It is pretty gnarly. I highly recommend watching it once.
And pleasing yourself while doing it.
No, that movie is not even.
Oh, okay.
Terrifier. I'm writing
Clencher.
that down too.
Yeah, Terrifier, and the sequel is actually coming out. They made a sequel to it, because the movie has like a crazy twist. Like the opening scene in the movie and the ending, you're like, what? Like it's crazy. There's a twist, you know. But
Can't wait.
it's cool that it's a low budget, you know, slasher movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's somebody who just had a great idea. Once again, a great idea, and they just made it. You know.
Just went for
And
it.
now the character, Art the Clown, like now he's iconic. Like now you see him at conventions. You know.
Damn, dude. Well, man, it's been a crazy episode, awesome episode, learning about horror, learning about dark energy, and all that great stuff. Leo, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Leo.
I felt like I learned a lot, but then we didn't get to talk enough about any of it.
Yeah.
It just a little bit, and I already know, like I'm more afraid right now than I was an hour and a half ago, and now there's even more bad stuff that I should not be calling. I'm gonna be thinking about not calling, but now it's gonna be in the back of my head. Don't fucking think
This
about
is
it.
the
Don't think about
problem.
it.
This is the problem with having interesting guests. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's never
yeah.
going to be, especially one that knows more than just one thing too.
Dude,
You know what I mean? So,
we could go down a science rabbit hole. We can go down a, you know, all, yeah.
These are the issues we have. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
but and in having that issue, it's just going to come back again.
yeah, these are great. These are great problems to have. Is the point. You know what
definitely,
I mean? Like,
definitely. You can check him out on the Boo Crew. What days does your Boo Crew come out, Leo? Is it every day, every other day?
Typically, we drop episodes on Tuesdays. You can find our podcast searching just the Boo Crew. You'll find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. But Tuesdays is our day. But lately, we've been very, very busy. So don't be surprised if we drop 2 or 3 episodes a week.
Damn.
And you can find us on Instagram at Tales from the Boo Crew, or Twitter at Tales from the Boo.
Tales from the Boo. Well, thank you, Leo, for coming out and hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys.
And we will definitely have you again every Tuesday, 8 p.m.
making dreams come true.
It's the #1 live podcast, bro. You know what I'm saying? West Coast Pop Block Podcast. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leo.
Thanks, you guys.